Welcome to today's Strengths Conversation. I'm Jane Liebecker, coming to you from Seattle, Washington, and I am an Eddie Villa certified coach, and I specialize in using the Clifton Strengths as a tool in my life, in my business.
Yes, my name is Manetta Fields. I'm joining you from Laurel, Maryland. I am an Eddie Villa certified coach, and I use the phenomenal tool, the Gallup Strengths Assessment, in every aspect of my life and business. So we're super excited today to be talking to our special guest. Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Virginia Hume, and I was introduced from a friend of mine in my doTERRA organization uh, uh, in April of 2019. And she said, "You got to go see him." So it was online. And so I chose to start being a part of what he was doing at the very beginning.
Awesome. So you're an Eddie Villa certified coach as well?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. We're happy to have you. And so let's jump right in. Virginia, can you share what your dominant domain is and what that might mean for you?
I am an executor. And so that means I honor my desires to get everything done the right way. It's going to be a system. I'm very practical. And so I use that in my business. So I have systems and small, simple steps. That's that's how we do it.
I love that. And so you learned about it through doTERRA. Eddie just came on stage and he helped you get started in your strengths journey. And so, how did it feel when you learned about your strengths?
Well, when I first learned about it in the leadership of 2018, okay, I had some co-workers of doTERRA helping me actually go through the test because the thing kept freezing on me.
Mm.
And they wanted it answered like this, and I don't process information like that. So I said, okay, I got it done, but I didn't understand anything about it. And they just focused on the top five,
Mm.
which is not really the way. You need all 10. And then when I was introduced to Eddie and then learned about my all 10 of mine, and then about the bottom of a strength and how you need to stay out of it, and to recognize there was a language with every single domain. I thought, oh,
We love
So,
that.
love it. We're talking to you today about your strength responsibility. Where is that in your top 10, Virginia?
number 4.
All right, pretty high up there.
Yes. So we're going to share with those who may not know what responsibility is in Gallup terms. So I'm just going to read what they say. People exceptionally talented in the responsibility theme take psychological ownership of what they say they will do. They are committed to stable values such as honesty and loyalty. Does that ring true for you, Virginia?
Absolutely. If I say I'm going to do it, I do it.
Love it.
All right. That's why we love you so much. So, one of the reasons. So, if responsibility is your number 4 strength, what are your number 1 and 5 strengths?
Number 5 is discipline. My number 1 is learner.
Okay.
And so, because the discipline is where you break things down in small pieces. And I grew up being dyslexic in school. Of course, in the 50s and 60s, no one knew what that really was. They looked at me as dumb, but how does she do things? Why she watches and she does it, and it didn't make sense to anybody, including me too. So it ended up because I couldn't pick things up and my spelling and reading and building was so poor. I looked, my self-esteem was like this because my mother would write my papers. I'd put the raw ideas on, and then she would make it so other people could understand. Because you ask a question, I give you a direct answer. Well, not everybody's ready for the direct answer.
I'm sure. So, can you tell us an example of how you have used responsibility?
Oh, yes. So when I have chosen to work with Amish in my organization, now they have no computers.
Mhm.
So that meant I would have to do all the ordering and do all the interfacing with doTERRA with them. doTERRA, as a result of constantly, we kept talking to them, they created what's called specific services in 2015, which opened the door for many, many, many people with no or limited computer abilities or access were able to participate in a very, very, very large way in doTERRA. So this is an amazing, but they're very caring and they're specific services. And every year when I go out, I always spend time with them. So but we just figured out, this is what you need to do. This is why you need to do this. And how come you need to do it? Let's do these things here. So I am their field representative, basically. What works, what doesn't, and why.
Quite responsible of you.
Yeah, very. So how do you think your discipline and your learner influence or work around with your responsibility?
Oh, okay. So because the discipline is breaking things in small pieces, I could evaluate what's going on and then break it down to make it easier for people to understand. And I learned by Eddie, the language of all the domains. And so now I need to break it down in their domain. So they don't feel, and I make sure we don't go in the basements of the strengths and no comparing is a thief of joy. So learning what all the domains were, understanding how they talk, and then breaking it down into small pieces and making accountable and applying and teach the lesson. There's your lane, there's God lanes and everybody else's, and you stay in your own lane. And sometimes there's a discussion on what that means. And just because someone's trying to pull you into theirs, your job is to ask good questions, help them think through it, and breathe faith and confidence in them that they walk the path themselves, not you do it for them.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And I think you've already shared with us what you like about it. You impact lives with your responsibility strength. We love
Oh,
that.
yeah. It's understanding, because I raised 5 children and worked at church. I had the volunteer job of working with young children, grade school. And so how you respond to the 2-year-old is different than the 20-year-old and beyond. So the directness for the young preschoolers is wonderful. They love it, and grade school kids. But when you start getting into Teenageville, they want more flowery stuff going on, which I never did with my children. They knew it was going to be a straight shot. There wasn't going to be any flowery stuff.
So Virginia, what would you say to somebody who's like sitting on the fence about taking the Gallup Strengths Assessment?
Well, if you're married, I'd suggest you and your husband do it, because I'm the executor. My husband's the relationship builder. And because we chose to have Eddie have a time with us, and he was able to explain in terms my sweetheart understood, this is what she needs to do. This is why. When I was trying to figure out how in the world to say it, it was like, oh, that's why she does that. So,
yes. It's great for relationships, that's for sure.
oh my gosh. And I felt like, okay, how do you talk their language? And so times when I feel triggered, they've touched my buttons. Okay, which part's mine? Which part's God's? Which part's theirs? And am I talking in their domain?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have to ponder so they respond with kindness and love, which I really want to do. But when I'm pushed in the corner, just like any animal, you have to choose to be in control and not come out like a fire-breathing dragon.
So we
Words of
love
wisdom
this.
from Virginia.
It's really been beneficial for your relationships. And I'm sure you're sharing that this would be beneficial for others in their relationships. So we thank you for being such a welcomed guest and sharing with us about your responsibility strength. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Glad to help.
Thank you, Virginia.